Hello and welcome to the Farmhouse. I'm Stephanie Spiker.
And I'm Candace Grusbowski.
So, Candace, before we get into talking about who our guest is today, I have to ask, do you happen to enjoy watching Hallmark Christmas movies?
I can't say I do. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen one. But I am familiar with, them as a concept.
Yeah, okay. It's oftentimes, big city girl goes to small town.
Uh-huh.
And there's some sort of Christmas event, and it's magical.
I've seen the memes.
Yeah. Well, our guest today seems to have been plucked straight out of a Hallmark Christmas movie, but she's definitely not fictional. She is as real as it gets. So recently, I got the chance to talk to Lindsay Eshelman. She grew up on Plow Farms in Berks County, Pennsylvania, and of course, Plow Farms is a Christmas tree farm. And it's probably best known for its annual Newfoundland Day, which is one day a year, hundreds of Newfoundland dogs, and if you haven't seen them ever, they're very large and fluffy.
Like bears.
Kind of like a bear. Very cute. But anyway, hundreds of them gather at Plow Farms for a day to haul Christmas trees for customers. And while Lindsay does still work for her family farm, mostly on the marketing side, she actually, for the most part, lives in New York City, where she works in marketing for various companies. But you know what? The farm life still calls to her, as she still travels back home pretty often to spend time working on the farm and with her family. So let's hear from Lindsay as she tells us all about her Hallmark-worthy life. Lindsay, welcome to the Farmhouse. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
So let's just start very basic. Can you tell me a little bit more about Plow Farms and kind of what you do there?
Absolutely. So Plow Farms is located in Plowville, Pennsylvania. Clear association with the name of the farm. We're actually right at the border of Morgantown. So, border of Berks and Lancaster County. And we are a family-owned farm that's been there for generations. My father really forged the way in transforming the farm into deeper in agriculture, growing corn. And then he was the first to plant the Christmas tree, which is basically our hero flagship, what we're known for, crop now. So our Christmas tree portion of the business is a seasonal operation. And really, we're beyond just a Christmas tree farm, I think. We are a seasonal spot of joy. We're a place of inspiration. And we're a place where families come and make memories. So we're a really special niche farm that, of course, does traditional agriculture, but has this seasonal opportunity where we are just pure magic right off the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
That's awesome. And so what's your role at the farm today? Because we'll get into it more, but it's not your only job.
It is not my only job, no. I have watched my parents build this farm over the past 40 years of my life. It's been a labor of love and joy and pride for them, especially with this Christmas tree portion of the business. And my brother and I have kind of fit along the way in helping to grow it. My brother really leads the way when it comes to planting and the actual crops and the agriculture end. And about 15 years ago, I started doing the social media for the farm and seeing, okay, how can we promote this and make this larger? And today, I would say that I'm kind of the leading voice in PR and marketing, and more importantly, experience. And so my role is to bring the experience to the farm and to create this, capsule of joy and Christmas that we have. So it's really an all hands on deck family operation. My 92-year-old grandmother makes the wreaths. My 7-year-old niece is an elf on the farm, but I'm kind of the organizer and the marketeer behind all of the mission of the farm right now.
That's awesome. So we have to talk about what actually kind of drew us to you on the podcast, which is Newfoundland Day.
Yes.
One of our freelance correspondents here at Lancaster Farming, Sue Bowman, wrote an article about Newfoundland Day, and she actually was on this podcast before for any of our listeners. You might remember Sue. And she emailed me and Candace, and she's like, you guys have to talk to Lindsay. And I'm like, I'm in. I love dogs. So please tell everyone, what is Newfoundland Day? What inspired it? And also, did you expect it to get as crazy popular as it is now?
Oh my gosh, no. The answer to all of that is no. What inspired it is our love of the breed, right? We were a Newfoundland family for over 20 years. And our dogs wander the farm. They're not in a pen. You come and you can pet our dogs while you're getting a Christmas tree. And as our association with Newfoundlands grew, my mother joined the New Pendel Newfoundland Club, which is a club where they train the dogs. And they were talking about, hey, these dogs are working dogs. We all know this. For those of you who are not aware, Newfoundlands are giant, 150 plus pound dog. They love to work. They have to work. And one of the ways to make these dogs work is to put a cart on them and have them pull something. And about 12 years ago, we hosted a small gathering with some of the Newfoundlands in the clubs where they were going to pull Christmas trees out of the field. And lo and behold, it was the perfect day. There was light flurries. There was about 10 dogs there. The farm was still, I would say, lower mid-size at this point. It wasn't what it is today, which is a real big extravaganza, if you will. And I took a video of it, and it was just a sweet experience. And I put it online, and we got 1 million views on this video, which blew my mind. I said, this is not how, and it was a 15-second clip of the dog moving through the snow. But of course, it's what everyone wants to see and everyone wants to share. So here we are a decade later. This is our flagship event. We have to move it to a day later in December because so many people come that would interfere with our regular Christmas tree selling business. And it is a day dedicated to these dogs. We have 100 plus dogs now. People drive from out of state to come. And why shouldn't they? Like, where else can you go and see dogs happy, working like they're supposed to? They're all giant. They're all cuddly. It's really a special day where people come to enjoy Christmas, enjoy the dogs, and we never saw it getting to where it is. I'm already planning for next year now, because if we don't lock in the date now, we'll start getting emails. Hey, I'm driving up from Washington, D.C. or from Virginia. I need to make plans. When are the Newfoundlands going to be there? So now the Newfoundland is almost the core of our farm. We have a Newfoundland on our logo now. We sell T-shirts with Newfoundlands on them. So the Newfoundland has gone from being our pet to basically being the face of the farm. No one cares about us. No one cares sometimes if their Christmas tree falls over. They only care if the Newfoundlands are there.
I mean, I get it. I am lucky enough to have friends that have always had Newfies, and they just really are a special breed. And I mean, every once in a while I get to pet sit and I just get to hang out with my boy Teddy, and I love him. So
And Teddy just wants to hang out. That's the beauty of the Newfoundland, is that they are giant, but they are just lovable. They were the nanny dog in Peter Pan. So it's like, it's a part of their breed identity to be gentle giants, to be caring towards kids. And that's another special thing that we get to facilitate on the farm is, yes, all these dogs are there. They're spreading joy, but it's an opportunity for people who don't have a dog to come and play with one for the day. Or we have a group of special needs kids who come to play with the dogs. And it's such a beautiful thing to see that it's beyond a Christmas tree. It's really this event where you can sit and relax and just feel the love from an endless giving, loving Newfoundland.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. So let's talk a little bit about how you don't work full-time on the farm, as we mentioned. So you're also, you're the head of marketing for a food and spirits company that's global, I believe. And I was just wondering, like, do you feel like your farm background and growing up on a farm has benefited you in your career path now that you're, also working outside of agriculture?
Absolutely. I would say now, today, midpoint in my career as a 40-year-old woman, it even benefits me more. Where I can say, okay, for 18 years of my life, I grew up on a farm. I understand the soil. I understand hard work. And it's helped me understand everything that I do, especially with my previous job, which was with Grupo Montenegro. It's one of the largest food and spirit companies based out of Italy. So I was living part-time in Italy, a complete dream. And while I was managing the spirits portfolio, that company is also one of the largest producers in Italy of spices and chamomile and herbs. And to see how we do things in the United States, and then to see how farm and agriculture is handled in Europe, has opened my eyes so much to, the traditions and the richness of agriculture worldwide. So I've been able to have this global perspective of agriculture. I'm also an avid traveler. I've been to 40 countries. I just got back from hiking Mount Kazbek in Georgia, which is like the Russian border. So to see how other countries are fostering agriculture in a modern way, but also keeping traditions is kind of what I love to take back to the farm. So one hand feeds another. And as I get all this global experience, it makes me love my farm even more. It makes me I'm spending more time on the farm now than I did 5 years ago, than I did 10 years ago. And I think that ball is just going to start rolling in the other direction now, where I'm there more and more, and bringing some of this stuff that I've seen in other countries to our farm, and how can we implement it, and, how can we make more experiences and use our land not just to grow, but to entertain and to bring community to it. Because that's the benefit, I think, of owning, significant land, is that we can gather people on it. Mm-hmm. And in the society we have today, who doesn't want to gather for beautiful things like Christmas and dogs? It's a special balance to be in this position of owning a farm and knowing how to bring people to it.
Yeah. So, you touched on this a little bit, that you're spending more and more time at the farm, so as of right now, I believe you split your time between New York City and the farm in Pennsylvania.
Correct.
So what about the farm life, all of that kind of keeps pulling you back, despite the fact that you do have a lot of other endeavors and things that you're doing outside of it?
Well, I think, of course, family, right? I was raised deeply rooted in tradition, and I will never abandon that. And it becomes more important to me as time goes on to know that my family has been on this farm for generations. How lucky am I? Like, that is one of the most beautiful things about life on a farm, is that you can see generations pass through it and preserve it. And that is very important to me, to make sure that everything that my father's done, everything that my grandfather's done, everything that my great-grandfather has done is still getting passed on and being preserved. So that to me is first and foremost. But secondly, I get excited to see what we can do next. We just, the Christmas tree is a seasonal operation, as I said, but we just got an email the other day. Hey, are you doing anything in the spring? And I'm like, well, if you must ask, maybe I should. It's like, what else can we do and can we build, because crops have a life cycle, they have a growing season, but the more things that we can do to get people to the farm and to experience this agro entertainment, I think is really exciting. So I want to build that as part of the Plow Farms identity and narrative.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of leads into something I wanted to talk to you about, which is where a lot of times people see city life and rural life as complete opposites, right? Mm-hmm. But in my experience, agriculture is kind of a way that you can kind of connect those two. I mean, everyone needs to eat. There are urban farms and urban agriculture. Plus, a lot of times, even if you live in a city, you might take a Saturday to drive to a farm a couple hours away and pumpkin pick or get your Christmas tree or whatever it might be. So from your experience as someone who obviously understands city life and welcomes lots of people onto your farm, do you think agriculture and farms and agritourism and all these things can really connect like anyone to ag? And how does that work?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the biggest learning I've had in agrotourism is actually from my time in Italy, where there's so much effort from a government standpoint to preserve old vineyards and old castles and historic farms, and to turn them into places where people can go and have weddings and enjoy the olives or the grapes. And to see how agrotourism is done there really wowed me. And I was like, oh, this is a beautiful experience. And how many times have we heard people say, oh, I went to Tuscany and my life was changed because I was at this vineyard? We can do that here in the United States. And I think that specifically in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, we have this great opportunity to do that, where New York City, Philadelphia, DC, these people want this balance, especially after COVID. How can we get people from the city who may have never picked a pumpkin to come out and pick a pumpkin? It's really easy because people want to do it. And it can be life-changing to do these things. And it's life-changing in a way where maybe it's something simple where now a person who is in the city has a tradition, right?
Mhm.
Now, maybe this is something that they're going to do every year. And that's a win for us as a society where we can create new traditions. And that's the beauty of agriculture. It can create new traditions. Or something simple like when I was hiking, I discovered that poison ivy is real. It's a learning experience. How great
Yes.
for that learning experience. So I think it works hand in hand. Being raised on a farm has only helped me in the city. I'm hyper aware in a city that sometimes is, you need to be hyper aware in. And that's from growing up on a farm where every day we had to evaluate what was happening, the weather, the climate, the animals that were out there in the wilderness. And it's the same with people in the city. I for a short period of time in New York, was working in the education system. And I had the ability to take students who were raised in New York City, on field trips. And that is a life-changing thing for someone to experience agriculture outside of the city. And if we can just create that spark, who knows what we can do as that person grows and matures and learns more about the environment. So I think they feed hand in hand. We're very lucky here in the Northeast and the Midwest that we have major important cities so close that people want to go to our farms, and we should welcome that. I know that sometimes agritourism is like, oh, well, it's overcrowded, they overpicked the pumpkins. I know in 2020 our Christmas tree field was decimated. We had because during COVID the only thing people could do was be outside. Everyone all of a sudden wanted a Christmas tree. We had none left in the field, but I welcome that because it got people out of their houses. It got people onto the land and they walked around and enjoyed, the farm. So great for us. These opportunities are really important, and the city and the country can coexist. Town and country has coexisted for years. And one feeds the other. And we're lucky in our area that we have access to both.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd love to talk to you a little more about kind of the marketing angle of everything. That's kind of your career path at this point. And, in talking to farmers as a journalist and as a podcaster, it kind of is really split where it's like some people are really into the marketing and some people are like, I don't understand it. I don't feel confident in it. Or even I don't feel like it's important. So what's kind of your experience in the marketing side? And then do you have any maybe suggestions or tips for farmers who might not feel very confident in that aspect of things?
Absolutely. It has been my career for quite a while. I've worked around the world. I've worked in Hollywood. I've worked with major celebrities, building brand campaigns for them. But it comes down to owning your voice. And when people say I'm scared of marketing because I don't understand it or I don't want to put money behind it, in an age where everything is very visible, you want to own your narrative. And for me, that's the first rule of marketing is craft your narrative and what story is yours and uniquely yours. And when you think of marketing as just telling your organic, truthful story, then it's not scary. Right? It's scary when you think of, I want a billboard with an image or this and an expensive ad in a magazine. It's not that. Marketing to me at the core, especially marketing for agriculture, is telling your story. It doesn't even have to be about trying to sell a product. It has to be about crafting your story. And when you step back and think of the marketing that way, it makes it so much easier. And it also makes it more important because with agriculture, like my farm, it's a generational farm. We want to tell that in our story. That's something we never want to lose. So I encourage people who are listening or scared just to see it as this is my story and sit with someone who can help you craft your story. And then if you want to promote that story, that's the next step of marketing. And that's also the beauty of everything being online. Our farm has not done print advertising or billboard advertising in years. We don't have to spend money like we once used to get visibility. I remember when our farm was really first starting to do heavy retail business, we were taking expensive ads out in the paper and the Philadelphia Inquirer. We would never do that today. And I'm thankful for that because we can control our narrative and we can use social media. We can use digital. We can do things like coming on this podcast to talk about what we offer. So, when it comes to marketing, Don't think of it as I'm trying to sell myself or I don't want to do this because it's scary. It's telling your story, and know that you can do it in a very easy way. Social media is not that hard. I have a 12-year-old niece who runs Instagram better than I do. It's not that hard, but there's people out there who can help craft your story. So for me, the marketing is telling the story and easily getting it out there. And the right message will resonate with the person you want to talk to anyways. So just really start to work on your storytelling.
I think that's great advice. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap up with one final question that we like to ask everyone. And that is, what does being a woman in ag mean to you?
You know, I love that question because I'm the unassuming woman in ag, right? My favorite thing is the plot twist about me when I'm out and about in New York City, or I'm in Rome, where I go to Rome 4 times a year and I'm wearing something fancy. And when people get to the core of my being, they're like, oh my God, she's a farm girl? And that to me is the beauty of being a woman in agriculture, right? We get to surprise everyone. We can be the strongest working on the farm and surprise everyone. We can be the face of something and surprise everyone. We, as women in agriculture, get to be the plot twist. And I think that that's really, really cool that we can, you know, in a traditionally male-driven, very labor-intensive career path, we can show anyone anything because we're the plot twist. The world is ours. So my favorite thing about being a woman in agriculture is that we're the plot twist. Surprise, here I am. You know, I'm a pretty glamorous woman. You can see me now, but I know the viewers can't see me. I'm a pretty glamorous woman. And yet I love to be on the farm. I am dirty. I'm with the cows. Plot twist. Women be the plot twist.
Yeah, I love that. Very you can still be multifaceted, you know? You can love the makeup or the designer bags and still, you know, oh, the cows are out, got to go deal with that.
You have no idea. I'll send you pictures.
I love it. Well, Lindsay, thank you so much for coming on the Farmhouse and chatting with us. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. What an honor. Thank you.
I'm so glad we got to hear from Lindsay. I had read Sue Bowman's story, which you can find at lancasterfarming.com. It's called Newfoundland Day at Plow Farms Combines Newfies and Christmas Trees. And I really want to go to Newfie Day, first of all, because, I mean, what a joy. I really haven't gotten to experience Newfoundlands up close and personal.
They are special.
But I would like to. But yeah, it's so funny, how you made the joke in the intro about her living this kind of Hallmark movie life. And yeah, she kind of is straddling the best of both worlds. She's had all these amazing adventures around the world, and she gets kind of all the perks of living in a big city and all that comes with it. But then she also gets the major perks of getting to step away from that and come back to the farm and help her family and be an asset to their operation there.
Yeah, I really loved what she said about kind of being a plot twist, where it's if you meet her in New York City or in Italy or hiking in, all over the world, and you just look at her, you probably wouldn't maybe know that, yeah, she grew up on a farm. She's a farm girl at heart.
Yeah.
And so that kind of gives her an edge of oh, surprise, I'm going to tell you all about farming because that is actually part of my life.
Right. And it does kind of give her an edge as far as marketing the farm goes too, because, she mentions how important it is to get people who have not experienced coming to a farm and experiencing agriculture, pulling them kind of out of that city life, I guess, and letting them kind of experience that. And she knows kind of, I guess, what would attract those people and what they're looking for. So yeah, it's giving her a really nice advantage almost.
Yeah.
All while living her Hallmark.
Her Hallmark.
When is she going to get married to the local baker or I don't know, carpenter, I guess. I know that they're always wearing a flannel shirt, the guys in those movies.
Yes, always flannel.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. Maybe at the next Newfoundland Day.
Oh man, love is in the air at Newfie Day. She did say that they were looking into doing another event maybe sometime in the spring, which I guess is too late for Valentine's Day, but Who knows? Spring on the farm.
Flowers.
There you go.
There you go.
We'll set it up. I also wanted to add just, her farm is in Berks County, and that's where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And she's right when she talks about the fact that there's a lot of development going on. In fact, there is, as we record this, a development project going on near a shopping center like 10 minutes from where I live. And I staunchly oppose this development because it used to be farm fields, and there's already so many shopping centers where I live. We really don't need another one. And it's, without doxing myself, basically, this is right around the corner from the Berkshire Mall, which, I'm sorry, like, that mall is a dead mall, and it's sitting on what might be a huge sinkhole. And I just think, like, instead of ripping up these farm fields and putting in development that, like, you're probably never going to get that farm field back once that development goes in, like, why don't you just tear down the mall that's serving pretty much no one, put some money into that, and then, like, redevelop that? Like, it's already pavement. Put something on top of that. Like, why do you need to destroy, like, the farm fields?
That is, unfortunately, I feel like a question a lot of people are asking for not just shopping centers, but, we've done a lot of work here at Lancaster Farming covering, like, solar farms. And now we're really digging into the data centers. And I do think that is a question that is raised all the time of, like, why farmland? There has to be other options.
There's so many other options. Like, I love when people are like, why can't you just put solar panels on top of warehouses? Because, goodness knows we've got enough of those coming in this area. Or, like, I know in other countries they put them on, like, the medians in on highways. Or here's another thought. What about, the green spaces in clovers on the highways? There's usually, like, a nice chunk of grass there that's, you can't really build anything there. So why don't you use it for that instead? I don't know. Why aren't I in charge, Steph? Like,
who knows?
I think we can conclude things there. We've shared joy with the Newfies. We've shared righteous indignation with development.
You get everything here.
Yeah. All right, then. Well, thank you all for listening. If you like this episode, please consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And if you really like this episode, please consider leaving us a review.
If you have any questions or thoughts about the episode, you can email us at farmhouse@lancasterfarming.com.
You can also find us on social media at Lancaster Farming on most platforms.
Thank you again for visiting the Farmhouse. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Candace.
We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
This episode of The Farmhouse is copyright 2026 by Lancaster Farming Newspaper, part of the Steinman Communications family.
It was written by Stephanie Spiker and Candace Wierzbowski. It was produced by Eric Herlock. It was mixed by Justin Berger. Original music by Eric Herlock.